Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Breakthrough Innovation. I'm JL Heather, and with us today is my co-host Preston Chandler and our guest, Russ Felker, the CTO of Trinity Logistics and a technology leader with over 30 years of experience driving digital transformation, automation, and innovation across industries. Having led technology at Global Trans, consulted in M&A technology strategy, and worked on next-gen logistics solutions, Russ is passionate about leveraging technology to enhance human interaction rather than replace it. I got to get better at the names, Russ. I apologize.
I just feel like you're giving me that cue to make sure I speak quickly. It's only 15 minutes, so I get it.
Today, we're going to talk about a few things. The first is going to be fostering a culture of innovation, how Trinity Logistics Week of Wonder innovation competition is driving real business impact. I'm excited about this. I love putting some fun in innovation. Second, the intersection of technology and logistics, how AI, automation, and data are transforming the supply chain. And then lastly, scaling innovation in legacy industries. So overcoming that resistance to change and implementing technology that drives efficiency and growth. So if you're interested in how technology can revolutionize logistics, drive operational efficiency, and foster innovation, this is the right episode. You're in the right place, and let's dive in. Russ,
Awesome.
Thanks for being here. We're thrilled to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm anxious to dig into the conversation and really start going through some of the things that we've done to foster innovation within the organization.
I love it. To start out, though, maybe you can tell us a little bit about kind of where you come from and how you got to where you are.
Absolutely. So I come from a startup background. I really, right out of college, even before I was out of college, I was involved in startups. And that's where I cut my teeth in change, because startups are change by their very definition. They're designed to try and fill a white space, fill a need that hasn't been filled yet, sometimes invent needs that haven't been filled yet. But as going through that really, I think, grounds you in continuous innovation. Because as a startup, I mean, I've been in startups where it's like, we're going to do this thing. And then, I don't know, 5 months in, we're like, this is not working at all. Go pivot this way now. Yes, and it's so important to have that mentality and have that ability to kind of support both, the company, but also the people in the company, that it's okay to pivot, to move, to change, to take a tack and then go, yeah, that's not right. We have to go over this way now. But so as I graduated, I guess, into kind of larger organizations and working with larger organizations for larger organizations, just always trying to continue to bring that aspect of my background forward. But it's not something that you have to have that background. It's something you can learn. It's something you can do regardless of your background.
Well, it sounds like that might be what the Week of Wonder is all about. And I'd love to dive into that because, again, like I mentioned earlier, like these types of innovation competitions really bring people to the table and make innovation fun as well as productive. So how did this come about at Trinity Logistics, and what are some of the lessons you've learned from it?
Yeah, and there's kind of a combination of things that culminated in this Week of Wonder. And Trinity has always had a very or fostered a kind of a culture of engagement. And it's like, hey, bring your ideas, help us to know what you want, what you do. And through various mechanisms and means, from coffee chats with executives that we schedule on a monthly basis, so where people can just come in and it's people of all different titles and departments, and hey, tell us what's going on. Tell us what your thoughts are. Tell us something that's going well. Tell us something not going well. Tell us things you would wish would happen. We had a program where people could send in ideas, and then if we implemented them, we would call them out on town halls, things like that. So we've been kind of building that culture of asking for involvement from our team and making it a safe space, which is the key things you have to do.
Right.
Week of Wonder came about because we went through and there's a lot of assessments out there that kind of help you to understand how you work or what you like to do and what you don't like to do. Berkman and PI, and we use one called Working Genius, which is, another one that's out there, but it breaks things down into kind of 6 different categories. And it says, here's the things that is your working genius, the things that you love doing, that you get excited about. Here are the things, yeah, you can do them. You're competent, you're fine. And here are the things that if you're asked to do these things, it's not like you can't do them, but you really don't want to. You're waking up in the morning going, I have to do that today. So That's the working genius. And wonder is one of the working geniuses. It's about thinking outside of the box, asking the big questions, challenging the status quo. And all those are aspects of the wonder component of working genius. So we designed our whole week of wonder around that. So the first 3 days of the actual week itself, we had activities for the entire company to do around each of kind of the segments of working genius. Which is kind of that wonder and invention, that enablement and galvanizing, which is kind of the cheerleading and getting something going, and then that tenacity of getting something across the finish line. And we had things we do, like the tenacity one was everybody had to make footballs, and we did a field goal kicking contest with the paper footballs. Y'all remember that from like high school? And anyway, we took that one old school. Then we culminated in the presentations, and these presentations were months in the making. So we actually had ideas submitted last August. So in August of 24, we started getting ideas submitted in. And we had a panel that we created, and nobody on the panel was from Trinity. So we had all external perspectives. And we had a carrier come in. We had somebody with a shipper background come in. We had somebody that teaches sales at Iowa State. We had a number of people come in that provided differentiated perspectives than what we do, because we know our business.
Right.
But what we wanted to do was have people present to a group and convince a group of the validity and possible success of their idea that weren't us. Because we have a lot of preconceived notions about what we should be doing. I mean, the executives set strategy, what we do. So we wanted that outside perspective. The submitted ideas were reviewed by that panel. We went down, we had 13 initial ones, went down to 3. Those 3 were then given technical resources, an executive mentor, and they got 2.5 months to develop their idea further and take it to a real plan and an execution. And then they came back and did live presentations to that same panel of their now improved idea to see, okay, who's going to be kind of crowned the winner of Week of Wonder. And we did have a winner. We had a team that won. It was based on a carrier information, a kind of portal sharing system. And that team then, their idea, whatever it was, we said, hey, whoever wins, they are one of the things we execute next year in strategy, period. Your idea is now part of what we do. And then the other one is there were some other prizes that they got for kind of, all the work that they had put in and whatnot along the way. But we really wanted to invest in this and really, and one of the prizes was everybody on the core team got a $2,500 travel voucher to go take a vacation themselves, their family, significant other, whatever they wanted to do.
Nice.
We feel like, and this gets to the core of innovation.
Yeah.
You have to show that you're willing to invest in it personally, invest in it monetarily, and invest in it from a culture perspective.
Right.
And you have to have those 3 elements in place to be able to make something like this work. Because if you don't, it falls flat. Because it's like, oh, great, everybody did this competition, but then you don't make a cultural and company commitment to say, this is the idea that won, we're doing this. Hell or high water, may not look exactly like what you did, because we're going to do market research, we're going to do all these other things to just flesh it out even more, but we're going to do your thing. It's happening.
You show the people that you value what they do.
Right, exactly.
Without that part of it, no one's going to participate more than once, because they're going to be like, what's the point?
Yeah, why did I put all this work in and take time away from, I'm still expected to do my job. So if you've got that, you're asking them to do this thing that is not necessarily their daily job. It may be aligned with helping them do their daily job, absolutely, but it's still a new idea. And taking a new idea from an inception to production is complicated.
Right.
And I mean, that's one of the pieces we really wanted to illustrate with this. It's like, it's not just, oh, I have an idea, great, and now it's done, as much as some generative AI vendors would like you to believe that's the case. But that's the other piece we really wanted to show. This takes work. This takes hard work. It takes effort, and we want to reward that. And we want to have that culture of rewarding innovation.
And I think that's something that JL and I have seen frequently with our clients, is that they might want to have us come in and just do some design thinking, where we come in and show them a couple of approaches. And those are all, mean, that's nice, but the long-term motivation and connecting it to long-term change is so much more powerful of
So
showing
much more.
people you can actually change your life. You can change the life of your company. You can change the life of your customers, and you have power to do that. And I think, to me, that's the inspirational part of innovation is look what you can change. Look at the impact that you can have.
The impact, you can have.
You don't get that when you just try to fun exercise. You get that when you have to take it start to finish. You have to make it come to life.
Yeah. Whiteboarding's fun, but it's in the end, it's the very, very little tiny first part of the whole big thing.
Right.
I think when you talk about the week of wonder, there's so much good stuff there to mine. The other thing that jumped out at me was bringing in those diverse perspectives. I think diversity is such a hot topic right now.
Are we
so
allowed
many
in the current political climate to say the word diversity? Will we get?
I'm gonna risk it, but yeah. But I think like what you're saying is that diversity of perspective and thought is a key to ensuring the innovation isn't just an echo chamber.
That's the key, right? And then you do run into that problem, and that's one of the things you have to be willing to a little bit go out on a limb with as a company. I mean, it's not easy to bring in these outside perspectives.
People who think different.
Right.
People
Right.
who might have a different perspective
have a
and
different-
disagree with you.
But it's great. It's so amazing. And that's why we targeted our panel. It wasn't just like, oh, let's go find some people walking around that we're just going to bring in and make panelists. It was targeted as a 3PL. We connect shippers and carriers. So we wanted a carrier, and it's one of our actual carriers. They pull loads for us. And it was somebody that has that actual shipper background, that has worked with brokerage before and understands that relationship. And we wanted that part of the perspective. It's that voice of the customer live in the panel.
Yeah. And it's a great way to make your customers feel very valued and special.
Yeah. And connected.
Which I love. Yeah. I think that's the thing people miss a lot when we say you got to put the customer at the center, right? It's not something that's going to annoy that customer. It's something that's going to make that customer feel like they're a part of the whole process. You want to talk about building loyalty and trust and all those sorts of things? Like, bring them in.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And, you can do customer roundtables and you can do things like that. And those are great. But sometimes it's hard to connect future actions back to those original roundtable discussions.
Right.
Because a lot of times an idea that gets implemented might be synthesized between 15 different discussions and little points that came up.
Absolutely.
This is such a direct connection of, hey, I was on the panel, I did this thing, and then I did the live one, and I helped to select this thing that this company is implementing. And I am now a part of where that company is going.
Yeah, you've created a champion.
That line of sight is so important too.
Right.
I think we often miss that in organizations because we have organizational silos, and you have the person who came up with the idea isn't the same as the person who is implementing the idea. Some salesperson comes up with something for technology to do, and then they don't talk anymore.
Right, exactly. It kind of goes on that everybody always like the technology's list of things that exist. Right. And it's like, where is it on the list exactly?
We often call that the think-make gap, and that you can't afford to have the think-make gap, where you can't afford to isolate those two sides.
Right, and it's hard. It's hard to do. It's not an easy task. I don't think any of us are sitting here going, so all y'all listening should just get on it. I mean, it takes work.
It takes support. It takes some of those outside perspectives. And I think that's probably a good transition to ask Russ, what is your advice to other CTOs or technology leaders looking to do some of this stuff in their own organization? Like, how can they make some progress? How can they take some steps?
And one of the things you have to do is you have to create that culture of asking, the asking culture. Ask for those ideas, take them in. You have to be willing to accept and bring in outside perspectives on a regular basis, because I love the phrase you brought up, echo chamber. Every company is an echo chamber to an extent. And it's great. Sometimes they'll hire somebody from outside, and for a little bit, you get this slightly different perspective, but eventually it starts to
get out. Yeah.
And so you have to constantly, be bringing that outside perspective. And then the big thing is, to use an easy phrase, put your money where your mouth is. I mean, if you're going to ask people to be a part of innovation, you need to make that something that you, in some way, shape, or form, compensate them for. If they're helping you drive success in the business, give them something back for that help.
Do you want
Beyond
people to
just the,
trust
oh, well,
you?
you've got a paycheck. I mean, that's great. And I'm not saying don't pay me. I don't think anybody's saying that. But at the same time, this is another thing, and it's something outside of normal flows of work and tasks or title or anything like that. So if it's important to you, make it important and show the importance of that.
No, I love that. I think if you want people to trust you and engage with you, you have to establish credibility, you have to establish trust, and you have to show that you value their contribution. If you can't do those things,
then maybe don't go down the path of soliciting a lot of innovation, because
right, absolutely.
Oh, it'll backfire. We have seen it backfire.
Oh
it
yeah,
can so backfire. Yeah. People get really, they can lose a lot of trust over a poorly run innovation practice.
no, that's a really good point. So Russ, I think this has been a great conversation. I think we can go for another 30, 60 minutes without a problem, but we do have to wrap up. So if people are looking to connect with you, either in terms of logistics or innovation, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
Absolutely. You can ping me on LinkedIn. It's probably the easiest way. Shoot me a message, shoot me a connection. Tell me who you are when you do it. Just don't shoot me a random connection. But that's usually the easiest way to get a hold of me. I do check it on a semi-regular basis.
We can confirm that.
Because that's how we got into
Because
contact.
that's how I got here. So I do look at it.
Awesome. Russ, thank you so much for this conversation. We're really great to have had the chance to talk with you and to have you on the show. For everyone else who's made it all the way to the end, we want to remind you, leave that like, leave those reviews. It really helps us out, and do it on whatever platform you're listening. Matter of fact, do it on all the platforms. That helps us out too. If you know anyone who's looking to build some more innovation practices within their organization, or who might need some support with logistics, pass this episode on, introduce them to Russ, and do us all a favor and make some connections. Lastly, take a moment, think back through the episode, listen to the episode again, pick out one actionable insight, let us know, apply it, and let us know how it goes. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to hear about your progress. Russ, thank you again. Everyone else who's listening, thank you as well. And we'll see you all next time on Breakthrough Innovations.
Thanks so much.